my friends. He has asked me to participate in one of his projects, which is questions for, in general, for grappling for the BJJ community. What he has asked me, pure jiu-jitsu or pure wrestling? Well, according to me, this question, it's outdated. This should have been asked or was asked maybe 10, 15 years ago. Nowadays, there is no such a thing. Pure jiu-jitsu or pure wrestling. It's a mixture. If you want to be good, especially for grappling, for jiu-jitsu, you must mix it up. You cannot be just pure jiu-jitsu. Wrestling, you can say yes, it can be pure Olympic wrestling, either Greco-Roman or freestyle wrestling, which is completely different league and completely different level. But for jiu-jitsu, or especially for nowadays, the modern way of grappling, of MMA, you must include either wrestling or judo or sambo or some hybrid between the two, otherwise you'll be left behind. And also before, like 10-15 years ago, there was that comparison, which is better? Is it wrestling better or is it the jiu-jitsu better? Through my own observations, I think wrestling has a lot to give, either to MMA or to grappling or to the BJJ world. But MMA or jiu-jitsu or grappling in general with the submission has nothing to give to the wrestling, because the rules, they don't allow it to be used in wrestling. So I mean, if some people try to compare it still, I think just try to mix it up, guys. Don't separate and don't get too much comparison between the two. Enjoy the journey, learn, and have fun. Let's go, my brother. Wow. Champion. Did it up? Didn't tap. Okay, let's go. Oh, what is this, man?
And there's the 10.
So the question is, pure Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu versus pure wrestling, which one's better and why? So you're pitting two of the best against each other. Wrestling is one of the most revered sports throughout time, throughout every culture on the planet. Wrestling is incredible, is still to this day. But then of course it's lacking one thing, which is the submissions of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is what makes it the most effective grappling art for finishing fights. But you put those two things together and there you go, you've got the best grappling that you could possibly get. So for me, Jiu-Jitsu is going to edge it, put them together, and that's where you want to be.
Hey brother, you asked me what's better, pure wrestling or pure Jiu-Jitsu. It's a tough one, I love Jiu-Jitsu, but I'm going to go with pure wrestling. Wrestling gives you that grit, that mentality, that discipline, that toughness that you don't get in any other sport. In my opinion, wrestling is the toughest sport in the world. So yeah, wrestling it is.
So the question is, pure jiu-jitsu or pure wrestling? Which is better and why? You guys give me your input. What do you think? Pure jiu-jitsu or pure wrestling?
Pure wrestling. Pure wrestling.
Why?
Looking to grapple, straightforward, simple, straight to the point.
Okay. Why? Some jiu-jitsu people might take offense to that. Wrestling? Yeah? Okay. Why?
It's a bit more like realistic in terms of like the scrambling and stuff, whereas jiu-jitsu sometimes it has to be a bit more specific. So I feel like wrestling overall they're like a bit more athletic. So
okay.
Like a bit more.
So why did Voice Grayson beat everybody?
No, obviously if you have an elite jiu-jitsu guy, but then if you put him up an elite wrestler.
Okay. I I think it comes down to body type, and mentality, physicality. You know, all these things. But it's subjective. So I would say neither. Pure nothing. Pure is bullshit. Me personally, I think pure is bullshit. All we just did the bow and arrow. And the bow and arrow is a jiu-jitsu thing with the gi. We did it no gi. We just adapted it. UFC 1, Hoist Gracie beat everybody. Then he fought Hoist Gracie again, fought Matt Hughes. I forget what UFC it was, he fought Matt Hughes and he got absolutely destroyed. Why? Because it moved on. Sport moved on. And he's older. Matt Hughes was like young and he was current. So all of that, right? But I think it's hybrid. It's what you do. It's how you present it. You know, all the good martial artists look like themselves. They don't look like a pure anything. They look a bit weird. Look at John Jones. Even Conor McGregor. Look at these guys. They don't look like anybody before them. They're not pure. So I think pure jiu-jitsu, pure. I think that's going backwards. I think that was 1993 when the UFC just came out. We had purists. After that, people realized you have to cross-train. So no, there's no such thing as pure anymore. If you have pure, then you have a weakness. If you see a guy with his gi on, and that's all he does, he's missing striking, he's missing the explosive takedown from the wrestlers. And if you see the wrestler, pure wrestler, he's missing the stuff where you get put on your back and you can actually submit somebody from your back. So I think that was old school, pure. Now it's all everybody's cross-trained.
Pure wrestling or pure jiu-jitsu? Obviously pure jiu-jitsu. Thing about wrestling, yeah, it's one thing to be able to control somebody, but with pure jiu-jitsu, you're able to actually finish the fight. A lot of times, like, guys can wrestle, they can do everything else, but there's no finish there. It's just wrestling, right? With jiu-jitsu, you should have good wrestling involved in that. So, jiu-jitsu.
So guys, here, right after training, so answering the question, pure wrestling or pure jiu-jitsu, you gotta choose one discipline, what's better? Yeah, I think the name gives it away.
Ever since I joined pure jiu-jitsu,
We've got a lot of opinions here, but now it's my turn for one. It's for a friend. It's different. Anyway, okay, but jiu-jitsu is better, just for the fact that you can be very good at jiu-jitsu without relying on athleticism, and I think it's good to work on how athletic you can be and how in shape you can be. That's absolutely a goal that I work for. I think everyone who takes it seriously works for. But there's always going to be someone who's been training for longer. I started when I was 21. If I face somebody who's been wrestling since they were 4, I'm a poor god, and I know I can win from God. So that's why I prefer jiu-jitsu. It gives you more advantages. Like, we can make fun of guard pulling, but from a good guard, you can submit someone, you can sweep someone, or you can wrestle. You're just wrestling from your butt, but you're still wrestling. So I think I love wrestling. We all do. We're all hearing, everyone really in the UK, jiu-jitsu, like practicing jiu-jitsu, is trying to get much better at wrestling, and the level has improved so much in like 3 years. But jiu-jitsu doesn't rely on how athletic you are. and you can get to a very high level even if you start as an adult, and that's not the case for really any other sport on the planet because of the fact that you can start on the ground. So I must say, if I had to choose one discipline forever, jiu-jitsu. Dirty guard puller, but at least I'll wrestle up from a guard pull. Peace.
Okay, Paddy Bonner, first degree black belt under Kev Capel. Question was given to me by my good man: pure wrestling or pure jiu-jitsu? I think it really depends on the individual and what you're using it for. I'd say if you're in MMA, if it was pure one or pure the other, I'd say it's been proven recently that wrestling's the way to go for that. But if you're looking for self-defense or a way to keep going long into your age, as you're getting older and older, it's much more difficult to be going really, really hard with the wrestling. Even at my age of 44, 45, it's too tough on the knees to be doing it more than 2-3 times a week. We try and get it in once a week, but for longevity, pure jiu-jitsu for me. And as I'm not an MMA guy, my personal opinion, pure jiu-jitsu.